Welcome to the Scam Economy with your host, Matt Bender.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scam Economy Post Show. I hope you enjoyed that episode on blockchain security. Domingo walked us through it. I feel like got down all the basics. A la those early Scam Economy, like 101 introductory episodes. I feel like we needed to do one of those we still need to do some of those on a few topics. There's also a number of, I didn't even pull myself up on the screen yet. I have the wrong background. This is not the majority report. There's a number of topics still to be discussed in depth. I still really need to do a Tether episode. Obviously, Tether has come up many times on the show, but I want a full-blown, complete history background of Tether. Also want to do an episode on at least one big introductory episode like that on Bitcoin miners, which are obviously still a thing, Bitcoin mining operations. There's a number of topics off the top of my head. But it's the post show. We're going to be doing calls. I just opened up the Skype. You could call Skype Doomed Live. Search Doomed Live. Just log into Skype, Doomed Live. I'll take your questions, your calls, your whatever you'd like. And as always, go to patreon.com/Matt Binder to support the show with a monthly paid subscription if you'd like to. The Patreon's been, in terms of new subscribers, a little bit quiet lately. A little bit quiet, a little bit stagnant. Hopefully, a new year will bring a new, reinvigorated Patreon revival. But the content has never stopped flowing. Yeah. Also, over on Twitch, we are live on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/MattBinder. And of course, where the YouTube premiere of that episode just happened, over at youtube.com/MattBinder. What else? Oh, I was on Keffel's live stream. What was it? Was it last night or was it Friday night? On Friday night, breaking down the Twitter files that involved libs of TikTok and what the story actually was there. So check that out. I saw Keffels uploaded it to her YouTube page. If you don't want to fast forward through all the Twitch episode she did, she has like 8 hours of Twitch. Let's go to the phones while we got calls starting to come in. As always, you can drop super chats at youtube.com/MattBinder and whatever you'd like to drop in the Twitch chat as well. And I will read those super chats, questions, comments, whatever. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Adam from England.
Hey, Adam from England. What's up? What we got to talk about? Ooh, it's what time?
Off,
It's 4 a.m. over there, 5 a.m. over there?
and it's also freezing outside, but I'm outside to not wake people up. So.
Did you pull an all-nighter, or are you waking up early for work?
I'm kind of I've got a messed up sleep schedule because I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile. Someone in chat knows what that is, I'm sure.
Okay, I don't know what that is actually. I'm guessing it's a game.
All right. First thing in order is that last time I called in, someone in chat said, "What's with this guy's speech impediment? He sounds like he has a frog up his throat." And I was like, "Hey, what the hell? I'm okay. So I have a non-conventional British accent. That's fine. You know,
you don't
not
sound,
everyone
you
can.
You
sound like this.
You sound like a normal British person. I mean, you don't sound like.
I had a sore. And I listened through, and I think that's what they were picking up on. That I had like a sore throat at the time.
Maybe.
So.
I mean, you don't sound like the incestuous royal family. You don't sound like...
Comment about the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said you don't sound like you have the voice of an incestuous member of the royal family. You don't have
Looking on
that.
it.
You don't have that fancy pantsy British accent. You have a real person's British accent. So I don't know what that person was talking about. What were they expecting you to be like?
No,
Were they expecting you to be like, hello, welcome to this. This is Matt Binder from Scam Economy. No, you're a real
That's-
Brit. Oi, mate.
that's how I'm gonna start the next call.
You what,
But
mate?
yeah, okay,
You what?
All right.
I'm
There's
sorry.
a couple
I'm
of
sorry. Go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Um,
Apologies,
okay.
by the way, for England. They did great in the World Cup. That was bullshit. What happened there?
I honestly don't follow it at all.
What?
I don't give a shit.
All
But
right. All right. Go ahead. I was just trying to be
hindsight
nice.
that. Okay. Well, one thing was Twitter, right? I mean, I'll briefly talk about Twitter, I guess. I got I got banned from Twitter. But it was for something I did wrong. Don't worry. But it wasn't anything super serious.
What'd you
Maybe
do?
I just used some strong language when arguing with a Nazi.
As one,
And
what's the
you know.
language? You
I'm gonna say the ban was unjustworthy and I've been cancelled. That's not what I'm calling about.
But what was
Just
now
saying.
now that you mentioned it though? What was it?
I may have not so subtly told someone to end their life, which is definitely against TOS.
Right.
So
Okay. Okay. I thought maybe you dropped some like very over the top British slang or something, and that got you banned, which would be not
I
part
was
of
just
the.
insulting a Nazi and I took it a little bit too far. But no regrets. But anyway, being banned from Twitter was great for my mental health. I was getting sick of it anyway, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Like political Twitter, I know it's part of your job, but for people whose job it isn't, I would really recommend people just log off once in a while. I know it's really addictive. Like I was thinking of quitting when Elon bought Twitter and suddenly everything was about Elon. Like all of my timeline was just people talking about Elon Musk and I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't care about this guy. And it was just kind of ruining the experience for me. So when I got banned, I was like, I'm not even going to bother reinstating my account. And it was hard for the first few days because like when I woke up, I would just instantly try and go on Twitter or, and I'd be like, oh yeah. But, there's a lot of other places where you can find information. And, I have missed not seeing breaking news like right as it's happening. That is something that's useful about Twitter. But yeah, I guess that was just what I wanted to say. Political Twitter is pretty dire. And, I've got another Twitter account, but I'm just using it to follow like games and stuff, like stuff that won't make me angry.
Right, like
You know,
FIFA. Just you
wow.
already made it clear you don't care about soccer.
Oh,
Football, excuse me. Football. Oh my god, the American in
yeah.
me came out. No, I mean, listen, I think obviously Twitter is an important tool, but also and I without a doubt have been guilty of this at times. People who are very into Twitter sometimes seem to forget that Twitter is just a very insulated bubble. Majority of people don't really know or care what's going on Twitter. That being said, I think Elon Musk's use of the platform that he now owns is very important because things do come off of Twitter. There are, there are narratives and that disinformation that pops off there, or individuals who get Twitter famous and expand outside of that who are problematic. So both things. Twitter should not be underestimated. Also, Twitter is a very insulated bubble. It's just not that integral outside of media Twitter, politics Twitter, like very specific niches. Again, those are important, but it's not like something happens on Twitter and the vast majority of the country or the world, being that I'm talking with someone across thousands of miles away, really wake up and go, oh my God, this happened on Twitter. This is going to change everything. I mean, I think it's a good point also to remind people that like it's not everything.
Yeah, just for something to consider if people, I mean, I'm a lot of people these days, they're very like, insulated and always online and, just like staying at home all day on the computer on social media. And I'm not trying to, say like, oh, touch grass or, oh, like, I'm not trying to hate on people for
On
doing
this
that.
chat, on this channel, never. Please, nobody touch
Yeah,
grass. Stay in front
yeah.
of
I'm
your
just
computer
saying
screen
if people
24/7.
are finding it difficult, or like, having like bad mental health days and stuff, maybe not using Twitter as much will help a little bit.
I mean,
But yeah,
also people have to do this, and I can tell you, it's a great thing once I discovered this many years ago, and it's why I am able to do the things I do on Twitter. But you don't gotta click the notifications tab. You don't. Whatever happens in there does not matter. Doesn't come off of that little like however insulated you think Twitter is. Imagine how insulated a single tweet is that maybe like 10 people like in terms of a reply, like a single reply to your tweet that may be anywhere from like 10 to 20, maybe a few more people will ever see and immediately forget about within 24 hours. I mean, just don't open the notifications tab if you can't handle it. Just say what you want, say your piece, get those numbers, those retweets, those likes if that's what you're for. Just don't look below the tweet. Just don't click the notifications tab. And it never happens. Go on with your life, watch a movie, play video games, go back, tweet something else that'll get some attention. Don't look at the response to it. Just go about your life. It will never affect you ever, 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 ever. I assure you. I assure you that.
all right. I had something else to talk about. It might be a bit of a big one, but I think it would interest you anyway. It's about the GameStop situation, and basically, what I want to talk about specifically is sort of like the aftermath of the whole, GME squeeze that happened like almost 2 years ago now. I think it was January 2021. I know you did an episode of Doomed about it, so if anyone wants a recap, they could go
Oh
there.
wow, we got a real fan here. Someone going back into the January 2021 archives. Wow. Okay, go ahead. Please. I'm all ears now. A real fan gets my full attention.
All right. So basically, it was just that what's happening? There's these subreddits that are sort of come off of Wall Street bets, that are sort of promoting this GME stock sort of thing, and it's really just bizarre. Basically, like I just found one of these subreddits. It's called r/superstonk, and it's very memey and like they call themselves apes and all that annoying stuff that makes them completely unbearable to anyone sane, just reading this stuff, them calling each other apes and stuff. But yeah, it's a really bizarre situation. It's like a lot of people sort of have these conspiracy theories that are about it's kind of like reliving the glory days almost of the show. I mean, if you want to briefly like explain to your audience like what the whole short situation was, just so everyone's up to date.
Oh
Because I'd
boy,
probably
it's been a while. I don't even remember. I totally went off into crypto world after that and totally forgot what happened. What happened with the AMC and GameStop stocks? Basically, if I recall correctly, a bunch of retail investors band together to try to create, basically short the GameStop stock. If I'm remembering correctly, basically what would happen is no, they tried to screw over the people who were shorting the GameStop stocks. Basically,
yeah.
Hedge funds were betting on GameStop stock going down or not hitting above certain levels. And a bunch of retail investors who enjoyed GameStop and were like Reddit meme people got together and decided to screw them over by buying a bunch of stock. And that just forced the stock to go up. And when that happens, the hedge funds start to sell off. and screw themselves over and lose money. But also there was a lot from what we find out later, if I'm also recalling correctly. There were a number of hedge funds that also saw what was going on and took part. So it wasn't like these retail investors screwed over all the hedge funds. In fact, some hedge funds actually made a lot of money from the whole thing, a lot more than most retail investors did. It was just, a temporary blip in time where a bunch of people all across the class spectrum got together and decided to try to make some money and mess with some other hedge funds who weren't playing the game correctly at the time.
Right, great summary. Except the super stonk people would take issue with you saying this was a blip in time, because these people, they are so invested in the idea that still hedge funders are still trying to short. It's like a really bizarre conspiracy, right? So they still think that hedge funders are like targeting GameStop and trying to artificially lower the prices, and they're basically banding together still and buying all the GME stocks so that it can't go down.
The funny thing is, like, if they were really out to make money on the stock market, and it wasn't just like this weird conspiracy theory that almost like a cult that they're all stuck in right now. If they were out to actually make money, I mean, there's hedge funds shorting all sorts of stocks all the time. They just move to the next one that makes sense to do this with.
It is a bizarre cult. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to get into, like the cult-like aspects of it, because it's really weird how they talk about this. Like they have this idea, not all of them, but a lot of them have this idea that there's like an upcoming financial crash coming, and somehow by putting their money in GME stocks, they're going to, make so much money while the rest of the world burns and the financial industry is destroyed by this brilliant short squeeze that they've pulled off. Which
it's like how that was the word I was looking for before. Thank you, short squeeze. That was the word I was looking for. I kept saying,
it happened.
Yeah. I mean, it did happen. I remember that day. The guy, I was paying attention. I was like, holy shit, if just sell, you're all going to make a ton of money. I mean, even if you just invested a little bit, you're going to make probably $100 in a matter of minutes. Do it, sell, you guys got it. And they were like, no, it's going to go up even more. Some of them think it's going to go up like to hundreds of thousands of dollars a stock. Like they're in La La Land, they're living in a fantasy world. They all could have made a tiny little sum of money, and they decided to join a cult instead and lose more and lose it all.
I'm glad you picked up on the cult-like aspects too, because that's like what amazed me about it. Just like all these, like the.
I have to tell you, the more I see all these things pop up that people just become fanatical about, the more I think just like people are just very like people as a species, human beings, are not that far advanced, honestly. Like very few people don't fall for any of this shit, quite frankly. A lot of people fall for shit. Now I'm not saying all, the majority of people become like lifelong conspiracy nuts, but there are tons of people who get caught up and fall for a scam. And thankfully for some people, they learn that lesson and they get out and they learn their lesson, and they're smart, well-adjusted people. They just had to learn that lesson. Sadly, there are also a lot of people who don't learn a lesson and get scammed and get scammed and get scammed over and over and over again. And here they are still, stuck in this vicious cycle. And it goes all the way from, what we're talking right now with these fanatical ideas about short squeezing a stock, to belief in a system like cryptocurrency that's going to make them super rich and upend the old financial system. And it goes all the way down the rabbit hole into political conspiracies and insane, what we're seeing right now that Elon Musk is stoking, these QAnon-esque pedophile conspiracies on Twitter he's stoking right now. I mean, this is something that I think very few people don't fall for at some level. Some people, thankfully, will just be a scam where they lose some money that they thought, and that's that. That's the temporary cult-like fanaticism they had. Other people go straight down that rabbit hole. I don't know how far a rabbit hole goes, however deep those rabbit holes go.
Yeah, so there's something that I think is worth investigating. I've like basically just scoured their subreddit and also looked at some articles that generally talk about this stuff to try and get some perspective on what's happening here. But there's a thing called DRS. Have you heard of this before?
DRS.
It's
I
like
might
some
have. It's been a while
people.
since I checked those forums. Run it by me.
Okay, so DRS is some kind of like digital storage of shares. It's something to do with like your shares being on some database versus some other one. I don't know the exact specifics. I'm not going to be able to answer that. But basically, there's this company called ComputerShare, which is promoted heavily on r/Superstonk, and they offer this DRS service. And basically, all of the posts, like the pin posts and stuff, are saying you should DRS your GME stocks. You should get them, and it's not just DRS generically. It's like they'll have like in these guide posts, they'll have the contact info for ComputerShare at the bottom, and that's very suspicious to me. I'm like if this was just generic advice about like, okay, this is a good idea of how to manage your stocks, then you wouldn't be promoting a specific company. But all of this stuff is this specific company, ComputerShare. So I'm not accusing ComputerShare of doing anything, like botting or buying off the mods or anything like that. But it is kind of weird, I guess, that all of them are that all of them are promoting this idea that, oh, the way to protect your GME stocks is by using this ComputerShare thing. It's almost like someone's seen that these guys are cult-minded, gullible, desperate to keep these stocks, and full belief in these stocks and full belief in this like whole plan. And they're like, okay, well, how do we make some money off of this? And promoting it that way. But I don't know for sure. That's why I guess it would be cool if there was someone who could look more into this stuff. And
I
also, I'm really bad.
No,
Oh,
I
go ahead.
think this is very interesting. I just don't know enough, and I even am rusty on some of the stuff that I did know because it's just been something that there's only so much. I have a big, large brain, but there's still only so much it can hold. I have to. Get myself acclimated for this stuff again, and then jump back into what this is. But it does sound very interesting. Um, I,
Yeah.
I,
And
it
oh,
really, I should bring it. I need to talk about this on Scam Economy too. Like I know I did that episode on Doomed back when I felt like it fit that show, and I still feel it does. It was very doomed thing that people were sort of very doomer esque scenario for a lot of people. But I should talk about it on Scam Economy. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like basically the whole subreddit is like very conspiratorial as you'd expect. It's kind of like the cultish aspects are sort of they have like this idea that like hedge funders are like the hedge funders of the world have made it their life's mission to destroy GameStop stocks and destroy this subreddit, and anything that you read online that might cause you to have doubt about GameStop, that's probably a paid shill paid for by hedge funders, which, as a matter of fact, I am. That's why I'm calling it this show, because I'm getting thousands of dollars from the hedge funders to shit talk GME.
I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it. It was
Uh,
just the
well, you don't
alarm
have to
bells were
disclose it,
going
so
off.
I
I
can't
was
get
like,
in
this guy
trouble. Yeah.
with his fancy hoity-toity British accent. Of course, he's a hedge funder.
Um, and there's some really funny posts on there, like stuff saying like, basically like, okay, here's a good one that I wrote down. Okay, I'll miss you all when this sub goes down, but OP is right. No one is selling at this point. We're 2 years in. That time has passed. If the sub goes down, the SHF, I don't know what that means, will realize they've lost the ability to talk to holders en masse, and therefore the ability to try and fail to manipulate the group. It's over for them. It's just a matter of time until the moon launch. GameStop is profitable in Q4. Like, no one is selling at this point. We're 2 years in. That time has passed. He's saying, like, that's it. We're in. We're not no one's selling because we're all in. We're too far into this now to let go. You know,
I
it's
mean,
bizarre. Wait,
they could have all moved on if they really were like stock traders or whatever. They could have just moved on into the next thing. Like it's so, like they really could have just, they could have sold when they could have made money and invested in whatever the next thing is. It is absolutely cult like behavior, because it becomes all about the community, which is fine if it's a healthy community, but this doesn't seem like a healthy community. The whole diamond hands thing, where like if you sell, you're like a traitor to the group. It's very.
I actually haven't seen that yet, but I mean, yeah, that is
Oh,
another
the
thing.
diamond hands thing was huge back when this was all happening. I don't Did they not use that language anymore? Basically, if you sold, you had paper hands, and if you were holding, you had diamond hands.
Nice. Well, I'll hold for sure then, because I want these people's approval. Apparently,
Right.
I just want one other quote, just to go on the.
The weird thing is, paper. As anyone who plays rock paper scissors knows, paper beats rock. So paper hands over diamond hands any day of the week. They had it all
Good
wrong.
point. Good. All right, here's another one. Just to show you, like, I guess how delusional these people are. Okay, I'll do a fancy voice for this one. We'll go down in history as a bunch of individuals who changed the course of humanity for the better. And once all's said and done, once the squeeze has squoze, we will live a life of honor and dignity.
Wait, did they really
Then,
say?
when we pass after an honorable life, we will all gather in Valhalla and watch a world free of a corrupt elite class, knowing we moved the world. Oh shit, my screen went off. Knowing we moved the world forward. So, my friends, I say, I look forward to seeing you in Valhalla after a life well spent.
Oh my god. Did they really write when the squeeze has squoze?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I do enjoy
The way
that.
they talk is ridiculous sometimes. They all call each other apes and they all say
I know.
like
That's
stuff like
why.
donkeys, they all like do that baby talk stuff that's very popular on the
Oh
internet.
yeah. Hey friends, FRENS.
You,
Which is
I
also
don't know
not.
if I've seen that one, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. If I did.
That's one that the Web3 people use that they took from the Nazis over on 4chan. Interestingly enough, it's yeah. I mean, very bizarre. Very bizarre. Valhalla. I mean, really weird. But
Also,
I do
one more
like
thing. Oh,
I really do like the squeeze when the squeeze has squoze. I'm gonna start using that word squoze.
yeah.
Have you guys squozed the oranges yet? I want some of that orange juice. Squoze.
All right. There's one more thing, which is Ryan Cohen. Have you heard of this guy? I think he's the new CEO of GameStop, I guess.
I
Ryan
have
Cohen.
no idea,
These guys
Ryan.
seem to worship him. I think he's someone who, has had success with other companies, and basically he bought out the company or whatever while it was
Oh,
struggling.
he's the guy. He's the guy who founded Chewy, that pet store, that was like leading the charge in the early days, saying he was going all in on GameStop. Like he was one of the early guys, if I recall. Now
So
he is the chairman of GameStop.
yeah, so if you were ever to do like a deep dive on the GameStop situation, I think that would be something worth investigating at least. Like, who is Ryan Cohen? Why all the faith in him and stuff like that. But yeah, let's see. Anything else that I've got? I wrote like I put a long ass document out here, but hang on. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. Everything that I've got.
No, that was great. This was a great this we ran the gamut here. This is a great conversation.
All right. It's okay.
It's time. It's if you don't got anything else, I will let you go. But it's up to you.
One more.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess they have the idea that that their subreddit is going to be banned by Reddit because of like brigading or botting or whatever. I don't know how true those concerns are. I mean, in defense of the subreddit, I've been on Reddit. Pretty much every subreddit has brigaders, if you have a passionate community in one subreddit and there's another subreddit that's shitting on that subreddit, it's quite likely that the people from the subreddit that's being shit on are going to go to the other subreddit and brigade it and, leave a bunch of comments in defense. So, allegedly the super stonk guys are really worried that but obviously they frame it as a conspiracy, like, oh, Reddit's trying to take us down and this is the excuse they'll use. And when they take us down, we'll that just means we're winning, and that means we have to hold because that means we're onto something, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. No. Everything's a conspiracy. Everything is there's a like a the elites. The elites are just hiding around every corner, waiting to take down a subreddit with a couple 10,000 users. Like, it's.
And don't forget that it's all to stop GameStop. Because
Right.
if GameStop does well, if the GameStop stock goes up and doesn't go down, that's it. The entire financial system is going to collapse and we're going to have a glorious utopia. So remember I know there might be some utopian leftists in the chat. Maybe they should consider, buying some GameStop stock, to speed up the revolution a bit. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, anything it's the thing is, like, there are actual real problems based on their beliefs in terms of, like, very powerful people getting involved to rework things in their favor, but they ignore what the actual things going on are in favor of these over the top conspiracy theories. Oh, Adam, did we lose you? Great call. I think we did lose you. Great call, though. Thanks for staying up, and please call in anytime. Let's go to the next call. Next caller on the line. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Matt. It's Josh from California. How you doing?
Hey, Josh from California. How are you doing? What would you like to talk about?
So really quick, the Super Stonk or GameStop, all of it is just Nasara. I know you've talked about it before. It is literally Nasara.
That's right. That's very astute. Yes, I think you're right. Obviously, I don't think they know about Nasara, but what you're saying is it's the same train of thought.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that some of them don't know about Nasara.
And Nasara, I've noticed that Nasara tends to be. I mean, at this point, you're usually in the older. You're usually an older person who believes in Nasara. Nasara is a quite old conspiracy theory that did gain traction during those QAnon days when QAnon was growing and getting really big. But I don't think it. I don't think I don't think Nasara caught on with really anyone who's younger than, like, my age, quite frankly.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they called it that, but there was, because I was paying attention to that subreddit while the whole thing was going on, and there was a lot of crossover between QAnon and Super Stonk at
I mean,
time.
just look at the people who are getting involved with Elon Musk right now. The people who are hosting his little Twitter Spaces and all that stuff, talking about and jumping on the QAnon train he's getting on. They all have, like, crypto and stocks in their username profile. It's like this. It's the same community without a doubt.
Yeah, it's just nuts. I mean, they're all the same. It's all the same people, and it's all the same mentality. It's someone, it's almost recognizing something true, which is that clearly we live in a society that is very broken and set up to favor the very wealthy, but it's not like there's a BuzzFeed article that's a solution to the whole thing. Like, this one trick will make capitalists hate you or whatever.
Well, if there was a single BuzzFeed article that would solve all their problems, that would be inconvenient for them because they wouldn't trust it because they hate BuzzFeed. So
Also fair. Yeah.
even if that was the answer, they wouldn't even take it.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's the same thing as it always is, right? Like, there's no grasp of sort of the underlying problems
Yeah, and
that we live.
that's the case with every single one of these conspiratorial, whoever you are, even Alex Jones. Like, of course, there's when he's talking about the globalist lizard people. We know who he's talking about for Alex Jones.
Yeah,
But also
I
there
got my
is
supply of flies the other day.
right. But there actually is a elite group of very rich people. The thing that unites them all isn't their race or religion or background. The thing that unites them all is that they're all very rich, and so they are all very
rich.
powerful. Yes. The rich people all over the world, all over the globe, rich people of all stripes, they then use their riches to lobby and control the means of everything, means of production, means of politics, the means of communication. And yeah, that's a real issue, and that's not a conspiracy theory. We see it. It's very clear. It's capitalism, baby. But they don't want to focus on that. They prefer to blame the Jews, or they prefer to blame the space aliens, or they prefer to blame just one single hedge fund holding down just GameStop or something like that. It's all very stupid. Like just literally, just like put the phone down, put the Robinhood stock trading app down. Log out of InfoWars for a minute and just take a look around you, and you could see it. It's right. It's hiding in plain sight. They know they get away with it. The wealthy elite. They know they get away with it, so they don't gotta hide. They don't gotta hide it. It's right there. You see it everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, look at how long it's taken to charge Trump with anything. Like, and not just him, but like any of these powerful people, like you or I committed these same crimes and we'd be in jail for life. But, you know, powerful people have a lot of money and good lawyers and whatever, so there's never any accountability for them.
Oh, you just reminded me of the Hertz stolen car scandal. Have you heard about that? I got to do an episode on this.
I have not.
I got to do a whole episode on this. It's absolutely insanity. So basically, the people, hundreds of people sued them over this. But basically, Hertz would claim that people who rented their vehicles would steal, like they would report the cars that they rented as stolen. I gotta pull up the article. I want to get this story absolutely right. It is absolutely insane. Just give me a minute here.
Yeah.
I'm obviously gonna do a deep dive here, but
And while you're pulling it up, I'll tell a story
Go
about
ahead.
dealing with Hertz. So I went on vacation to a Greek island and had confirmed a rental car with Hertz. And when I landed at the airport, they had a guy sitting at the counter saying, "Oh, well, you didn't confirm it through this particular website, even though you have a confirmation number. So I didn't keep a car for you, but you know the insurance that's non-refundable, you don't get that money back. So if you want to call the U.S. number, which I was 13 hours difference by that point, if you want to call the U.S. number and argue with them to try and get your money back, you can, but I'm not going to help you. And good luck walking up the entire length of the island too." So I'm sure to get to your hotel. So I'm sure they scam people out of like just insurance, like because you pay an extra like $80 or $90 and you can do whatever the fuck you want to the car, and they just it's covered because a lot of times rental cars aren't particularly well covered by your own personal insurance, but it's just like I'm sure they scam the shit out of like travelers all the
Okay,
time.
so,
with
right. So
stuff.
here it is. So basically, thousands of times each year, because Hertz has a screwed up system of tracking which cars it rents out.
Mhm.
When someone rents a car and the tracking system screws it up, Hertz reports the car as stolen. And then the person who's actually legitimately renting the car and has already paid Hertz or is paying Hertz for a current car rental get arrested for stealing a car that they're actually renting. And then they go through, they get jailed. Some people spend overnight or days in jail over this. And then they're stuck fighting this in the courts for years instead of Hertz just stepping in and saying, we screwed up. And there was a lawsuit, and basically what's going to happen is Hertz is going to pay out a couple $1 million to these people. No one is going to jail for wrongly accusing thousands of customers for stealing cars they were actually paying Hertz for and then getting those people jailed. There's countless stories of people losing their job over this. It's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, that's disgusting, and that's not at all surprising. You're allowed to do, as long as you're acting in good faith on behalf of the company, and it depends on the states or whatever, but which state you're in or whatever. But as long as you're acting in good faith on behalf of the company as a corporate officer, you're not. It's not criminal. Like you may be civilly liable, but because they're like it's really strange. Essentially, but like your corporate officers like are allowed to do all kinds of really evil shit. Like with the Pintos, nobody went to jail. They knew those cars were going to explode when people got hit from behind. Um, Someone should have gone to jail for that. Or more recently with the steering columns, with I think it was Chevys, where they knew they were faulty, and I think they killed a couple hundred people. And the executive that made the decision, because the reasoning behind it was a cost savings, and we did a cost benefit analysis. She should be charged with a couple hundred murders, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, the company's civilly liable, but they're not criminally liable for any of this shit. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like every, I don't, again, like that, like I said, people recognize that there's a big problem with the way in which our society operates, but they just misattribute it to like um, whatever you know, scapegoat they can find, because these big sort of amorphous entities that are essentially Lovecraftian gods at this point, because they operate, you know, beyond human understanding, and are sort of formless masses, um, just have incredible control over our lives and get to do whatever the fuck they want, and no one's held responsible. Like with 2008, where one person went to jail. Like, come on. There was so much, there was fraud upon fraud upon fraud, but because it's, oh, that's normal business operations, then it's okay. It's like if they only, what's her face is only Holmes is only going to jail because she fucked with stockholder money. They didn't care about the people that, they dismissed all the charges for the people that she and her husband killed with their shitty tests.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just how this all works, and it's been going on the same way over and over, event after event, happening after happening, and quite frankly, nobody who claims to be so awoke by what's going on, it seems to be awake to it. They're all
Yeah,
asleep at the wheel.
yeah, or they just feel powerless. I mean, you know, every time there's any sort of movement, it gets
I
co-opted.
mean, these people who I'm talking about,
Oh, the
yeah,
Nazis.
the conspiracy theorists, all of them.
Well,
Um,
most of them are Nazis at this point, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
that's sort of where it ends up. It's not like the fun like Bigfoot conspiracies anymore. And even that, there's stuff like Planet Camelot now, where Bigfoot and space aliens and all of that are tied into like race science. Which is it's a YouTube channel where this woman interviews supposed like super soldiers and people who've had encounters with aliens or whatever, but they're all her sort of she's sort of a QAnon person, so her unifying theory is that like Jews and the evil, I think they're called Anunnaki, or like the evil lizard aliens or whatever, have interbred at some point. So even when it's weird alien shit, like it's all still tied back into anti-Semitism. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Thanks for the call. Yeah.
Have a good one.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Let me go to the super chats here. Only Renee. And I have no idea what Renee's talking about. You forget Ash Sarkar RLF. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Renee. I'm sorry. Did you drop a super chat earlier in the other? I think you did, didn't you? Hey, what's your name? Where you talk? Whoa. What's your name? Where are you from?
G'day, Matt. It's John from Australia. How you doing?
John from Australia. An absolute pleasure, as always, to hear from you, because you always got something cooking up to talk about. What's going on, John?
Well, I've got one interesting story that sort of bubbled up last month from the NFT space. Remember NFTs?
I do. I just was writing earlier today about how a class action lawsuit was just filed in federal court in Los Angeles a couple days ago, suing a cornucopia of celebrities, from Justin Bieber to Madonna to Jimmy Fallon to Paris Hilton to Serena Williams to Stephen Curry to Snoop Dogg to Post Malone, and they're suing Yuga Labs, and they're suing Guy Ocieri over what the class action lawsuit is claiming to be a fraudulent scheme to pump Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs using celebrity endorsements without disclosing what was going on. I, for one, don't think it's going to go very far, although it is very interesting, and who knows what would come out of it. Even if they don't win, maybe we'll get some information out of this.
They do not want that case to go to discovery.
Oh, they do not, no.
No, absolutely not. Given that, is it Guy Ocieri is like the manager of half of those people that you mentioned? So Guy
Ocieri, if people check out the Bored Ape Yacht Club episode I did with those two reporters from Fast Company, Guy Ocieri is the big-time talent manager who manages some of the biggest celebrities, mostly musical artists like Madonna, U2. He is a partner in Yuga Labs, which to me did not seem clear till very recently, who seems to have somehow convinced many celebrities whom he has connections with to promote Bored Apes, who also all of a sudden claim to acquire Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. All of them seem to acquire these NFTs when they do get them through the crypto payment platform MoonPay, which I should add that Guy Ocieri is an investor in. And when these sales, when the celebrities buy these NFTs or when they sell these NFTs sales happen on the NFT marketplace platform OpenSea, which, interestingly enough, Guy Ocieri is also an investor in.
Yeah, the MoonPay stuff is particularly interesting because when they were all doing those appearances, so when Paris Hilton did her appearance on Jimmy Fallon, when Jimmy Fallon bought his Bored Ape NFT, and when who was the other guy, the rapper that bought them?
Snoop Dogg?
You mentioned him. No, not Snoop Dogg. The other
Justin Bieber?
No, not a rapper. The other guy.
Post Malone?
Post Malone. Thank you. Had a clip of him using MoonPay to buy his Bored Ape in his music video, I think. So the interesting thing about that is I at the time I got a bit curious and was like, I'm going to poke around on chain. I can see like his Bored Ape, like he posted it on Instagram or something, and I can see it in his music video. So I can figure out what this ape is. I could go look on chain to have a check it out. Ridiculously hard to do, given these things are, as an aside, given these things are meant to be verifiably, you verify you're the true owner of this thing. By looking at a picture, I can't just look this thing up. I had to go back through the database and guess what the background color was, check that box, filter through OpenSea, all this stuff. Given the color grading on the music video, it was really hard to tell what the actual background color was. But I eventually tracked down this asset, which means I have his wallet address. And the money that he paid for that ape was transferred to him almost immediately.
Oh, yeah,
from
this
MoonPay.
this is the scenario with a lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of these. It's never they just acquired some crypto from scratch to via exchanging US dollars that are theirs or whatever. No, it's always the exact amount to like the dollar and penny, like some random, like not a round amount, is sent to them from another crypto address, and all very what a coincidence. And then they use that amount to acquire the NFT. This has happened time and time again with celebrity NFT sales and acquisitions.
And to be fair, that isn't actually the smoking gun that it sounds like, because the way that MoonPay works is that you can buy NFTs with US dollars with a credit card. Right. So effectively how that would look on chain is that they would, I guess they would then, like you would pay them, they would give you ETH to buy the NFT, or that there's a smart contract on their end that, you give permission to that contract to operate your wallet for you in order to make the transaction. As for something that's meant to be very transparent and easy to track and audit, a lot of stuff seems to be happening off chain that makes this muddies the waters here a little bit. But yeah, that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I suspect it will probably settle because, as I said before, I suspected that they don't want text messages from Guy, Madonna, Jimmy Fallon, Paris Hilton, and all this sort of stuff to come up in Discovery.
It's so obvious there's something more going on here. It's so obvious there's some under the table, payments going on. Without a doubt, there's no other product I can think of where any TV show, let alone the Tonight Show, went so out of their way to like show people like basically a how to do YouTube video live on the Tonight Show, showing people how to use it and stuff. It's so obvious something more was going, and it was so forced too. It's not like NFTs were impossible to not talk about in the in the realm that the Tonight Show exists in. It's not like all the hip 18 to 34-year-old demographic is doing this. No, it was a very small number of totally out there nerds who are not at all the Tonight Show's demographic. These people never watch TV. They probably don't have cable. Tonight Show's on Channel 4 to be fair, but they don't even watch. They're not watching the Tonight Show is my point. They're not Jimmy Fallon fans, I can assure you. So yeah, it was definitely something is definitely screwy over there. I'm sorry. Allegedly.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And look, great show today as well. The sort of the I like to when I sort of watch your shows and many other podcasts as well. I like to sort of think back and sort of ruminate on what I think is maybe a takeaway or theme or through line for the episode, right? And I think the takeaway from that episode was that maybe even at a bit higher level than just specifically talking about security, that blockchain tends to write a lot of checks that the tech can't really cash. right? It makes a lot of promises. And that sort of reminded me of this story that I read about that sort of started bubbling up last month. So Axios on the 3rd of November reported that 4 NFT marketplaces are either switching over to optional royalties, meaning that when you make the point of sale, you can choose whether or not to pay the original creator of the work a portion of that secondary sale, or they're just completely ditching the secondary sale royalties. This is something that was, from the very beginning, one of the promises of NFTs, right? Along with true ownership, along with, if a company, the company doesn't own, a World of Warcraft sword, you actually own it, you're not tied to the game or whatever. Not only that, but if you crafted this sword in World of Warcraft and you wanted to sell it, then you would get a recurring fee every time that was sold along, right? So marketplaces now that they're in a bear market and that NFT sales have dropped off a cliff, they're all sort of going, maybe we rethink this royalty thing in order to claw back as much of the scant profits that there are. And this has sort of been happening for a while. Earlier, probably about maybe 12 months after the big NFT boom, a couple of marketplaces started to pop up that weren't sort of your traditional eBay style, I'm going to list my NFT and someone's going to make a bid on it. These ones were like trades where you would list your ape and then someone would offer their ape in exchange. And this is sort of what happens when liquidity starts to maybe dry up a little bit, and you have to sort of trust that the value that's sort of the sticker price of the item is the sticker price of the item. So that was convenient because it also avoided royalties, because you're just trading one ape JPEG for another. It was also convenient when people's wallets were hacked and apes were transferred out. You could quickly then swap it for another one without it being delisted on OpenSea. So there's 4 marketplaces that are switching over to this optional or just completely eschewing them. OpenSea is not one of these marketplaces. And this is where I think the story gets particularly sort of poignant for me. OpenSea has said that they're going to be enforcing royalties. But crucially, they can't enforce them on any other platform. They can only enforce them on their own platform. Right. eBay can't make you obey eBay's rules if you sell something on Craigslist. It doesn't work that way. So what OpenSea have decided to do is, with a couple of other marketplaces, they formed this working group called the Creator Ownership Research Institute. Sounds very fancy. To figure out how they can ensure that marketplaces that participate in the working group enforce the payment of royalties. They're finally rolling out their first solution as of, I think, January next year. So after 2 years after the boom, they've finally cracked it. They've figured it out. Crucially, it's, I think, only going to work for contracts from that point onwards. So if you sold an NFT during the boom, you're shit out of luck. But the solution is, I think, just really poetic. The solution is to create a list of marketplace contract addresses. And if someone tries to sell your NFT on a marketplace that isn't on that list, they can't sell it. So the key takeaway, right? The narrative was that the secondary royalties were baked in. It was automatic whenever the sale happened. It was decentralized. It was completely trustless. You don't have to worry about people being nice or doing the right thing or being moral or whatever, ethical. Turns out that's not the case. And it hasn't been the case from the very beginning of NFTs. And their solution is everyone joins our group and that they commit to doing the right thing. They all, you have to trust our group that we're gonna do the right thing. So it's not baked in, it's not automatic, it's not decentralized, it's not trustless at all. And the promise there is kind of in conflict with another key promise that they tend to make. And this I find all over tech. not just blockchain, but the promise of NFTs, right, is that you truly own this thing, this digital asset. It's yours. You can do whatever you like with it. You can sell it to wherever you like. You can sell it to whoever you like. Nobody has the ability to infringe upon your ownership. You don't have to worry about laws. You don't have to worry about whatever. The blockchain all sorts this out for you. That now seems to be, and has always been, in conflict with the idea that as a creator, you automatically get royalties from secondary sales in perpetuity, passive income, trustless, all that crap. So all in all, I think that story really nicely kind of encapsulates, and admittedly, it's a little convoluted because you have to sort of known and followed NFTs for a while, but it's a really nice sort of encapsulation of the just these promises that they make that just literally aren't there. NFTs first came about, I think, in 2017, and it's now 2023 that they're going to roll out a solution to ensure that artist royalties are paid on secondary sales, when they've been saying from the beginning that it was automatic and it was going to happen. It's absolutely wild to me.
Also, the way they're doing it is pretty convoluted too. Like the thing they finally got around to do it seems pretty.
It's a list. It's a list, exactly, right? Like it's not this magic technology solution. It's not any cool cryptography. It's not any of this. It's just a list. It's a fucking list that we have to trust, right? Like,
and of course, there's nothing is stopping people from not using that list.
They don't have to use that list, right? They can use a marketplace that explicitly does not do that. That explicitly isn't part of the group, that explicitly doesn't check that list. It's wild to me that like anyone can take this stuff seriously. But that's that little story I want to tell you. That was Axios in November. The title of the article is "Market Royalties for NFT Creators Are on the Way Out." If anyone's curious, they can have a bit of a read.
Royalties for NFT creators. Oh, and I actually
on the way out.
Are on the way out. Let's take a look. Let's see some details here. Oh, I love the big picture. Like, you know how they break down, like Axios likes to break things down. The big picture, why it matters, what's driving the news. And the big picture is fewer and fewer marketplaces are honoring artist royalties. I mean, the whole point that we're told, and if, like you said, the whole point of NFT medium, because they get the royalties, the big picture is, guess what? The NFT marketplaces, they're not doing that.
No, exactly, right? Like it's like the words mean something, right? So when you say built in and automatic, right, that kind of should mean that it's built in and automatic, right? Like that it can't be worked around. Like if you told me, oh yeah, you know, oh you buy this great new car and it's got security built in, it's got an alarm built in, and then I say, yeah, but like they just smashed the window open, the alarm didn't go off. Oh yeah, the alarm only goes off if you try to open it with the wrong key. Like that's useless, right? Like it's just, the mind boggles. 2017, that's 6 years, 7 years. They haven't worked this out.
Yeah. I love this line in this Axios piece. Be smart. A part of the popular narrative around NFTs was that royalties were built into the operation of the blockchain. The sentence following this is in all italics. This was never true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course it wasn't. I'm guessing this is the. I'm assuming a lot of artists did not know this, obviously.
No, and the people who were saying this from the beginning were sort of like, kind of and that's another conflict, right? And this is beyond tech and crypto. This gets into sort of right-wing conspiracy stuff as well, right? Like, if someone tells you what you want to hear, then you're kind of just inclined to believe them, right? So I and many other people from the start of this big NFT boom that happened during lockdown were saying like, hey, this isn't true. Like this doesn't happen. This is impossible to enforce the way that it works. But then credulous people who just take it on face value because OpenSea says it works, so I have no reason to not believe them. And they're all saying, no, this isn't true. This is fake news, FUD. You're fudding. You're just fudding. No, it's not true. It's like, well, I like the thing that guy's saying. He's saying it's not true, and that makes me feel better. So I'll believe that. Like, it's just wild.
It's a bunch of people. It's a bunch of people who just want exactly what you said. You said it. I was just gonna say something, and I was thinking, oh my god, the reason I'm thinking of this is because you just said it 2 minutes ago. Yeah, they wanted to hear the solution that they wanted to like wish into reality existed, and that's what they were told, and so they all just went for it. I mean, it's and now look. I mean, listen, if you're an artist selling your work as NFTs, I mean, like, you have to not have a problem with people basically looking at your art as a speculative asset and not as an actual piece of art. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's not even. It's just weird.
Yeah, and to really clarify this,
I couldn't do it. I could just to say it. I couldn't do it. It's not. And you know what? I'm sure people will be like, oh, you know, the old art world, like, you know, for the famous painters, Picasso and everything. Well, I mean, Picasso didn't just like fucking throw together 10,000 different combinations of the same painting over and over again, and then sell them in hopes that there would be 10,000 stocks in himself that people would invest in. I mean, each art piece stands for itself, and is the art world over, is the art world like over hype and overvalue some of this stuff? Sure, of course, but at the end of the day, it's still a piece of artwork that like has a value intricate in and of itself. Like, even if the overvalue, if all this art, like the ridiculous overvaluing of it was eliminated, the painting is still worth something. Whereas your NFTs.
Here's the thing about those paintings, though. The thing about those paintings, though, is a lot of them, particularly the blue chip ones, or maybe not the really blue chip ones, that they tend to be sort of loaned out to galleries. The really famous ones tend to be on display, but some of the blue chip ones that are expensive that you don't really think about, right? You could very comfortably wager that no human being has seen those pieces of art in years. They sit in ports and facilities in like climate controlled like lockers. They just sit there. And when you buy them, like if a rich person goes, I'm going to buy this, I need to buy some art. I need to diversify my portfolio. They don't say, I want to buy this painting. They say, I want to buy some art, because it is an asset class. And they buy it, but they don't transfer it to their new holding cell or holding locker or whatever. It sits in the same place that it was before. Right. And then the registry, the ledger at that owning place says, okay, this person bought it. That person sold it. Now it's in their name. Done. That's all it is. So we kind of really already had NFTs.
Right. Yeah. Without a doubt, in many ways, it's absolutely still, NFTs is like the art world. But in my estimation, the art world obviously can collapse, and people would still want those paintings. Obviously, they wouldn't want them at the same value, but there'd still would be a market for it because they're classic works of art. Whereas NFTs, which were basically at this point made specifically to mass produce and sell to become an asset, I don't think there would be without the NFT aspect of it. No one will care about the Bored Apes. Do you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you, Matt, when society collapses, and everyone's holding on to their precious gems and gold or whatever it may be, I'll still be able to join in there if I hook up a generator and somehow the internet's still around.
You got me there. You got me there. I can't argue with that one.
The thing to really take away from what I've talked about, this thing with the royalties here and everything, right? When we're talking about critiques of blockchain, something to bear in mind is, unless we are very specifically talking about some specific thing, right? Unless we're specifically talking about the Axie Infinity bridge that was hacked by likely North Korean state actors. Or we are specifically talking about, I think it's Solana, who every now and then has to turn off the blockchain because God knows what goes wrong with it. Unless we're specifically talking about those things, the concepts that I've discussed today are not specific to any particular blockchain. They're not specific to Fartcoin. They're not specific to Cringe Ape Club or whatever. This is the blockchain, the concept of the blockchain. The marketplaces in the article are not just Ethereum. I think Solana is mentioned in there, and I think there's another one as well. It is a universal issue that applies across the board to the general concept. That's the key thing to remember when we make critiques, because I know that a lot of people like to go, oh, you're specifically talking about this one thing, and yes, that's bad, but my Elon Fartcoin or whatever the hell is that's different somehow. You should read that white paper instead, and it's a half a page PDF, and it's exactly the same, or it's just a token that runs on some other blockchain. God knows what else. But I've already talked too much. Definitely have a read of that article. There's a lot of links in it, and well, it sort of simply breaks it down if you want to check it out. Market royalties for NFT creators are on the way out in Axios in November, and I'll let you go. Let some other callers get in.
Sounds great. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up for the night, but we'll see. Let's see what's out there. Thanks a lot for the call, as always. Enjoy your Monday afternoon, John from Australia.
Spot on. Have a good one, mate. Cheers.
Take care. Always a pleasure. Always love when John calls. Always got some good stuff to get into, honestly. All right. I think I'm gonna call it a night, only because it's almost midnight. We did a solid hour and 20. I think we're at now, hour 15. By the time I wrap this up, it'll be about an hour 20, I think. Let's go check the super chat. Oh, Wanda with a super chat. Another great show. Thank you, Wanda. Let me check over on Twitch. Don James, 1676, cheered 209 bits. I got to support you somehow, says Don James. Thank you. Valanova, cheered 500 bits. Thank you so much, Valanova. We got Aquamarine Ice, subscribe with Prime. Thank you so much. One less name, resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 4 months. K-Money78, subscribe with Prime. This is over on Twitch, just in case I didn't mention it. Masms gave out a community gift sub. Thank you so much. Nice Cabbage 1, subscribe with Prime. Thank you all so much. Once again, connect your connect your Amazon account, your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and get a free Twitch Prime subscription every single month to give to your favorite creator. It's a free for you, paid subscription to your favorite creator. Amazon basically pays your favorite creator without asking you for anything more than what you're already giving them for your Prime subscription. So do that. It's silly not to, because you're just letting Amazon keep more of your money that you could force them to share. Oh, there is apparently a super chat from the earlier show. 1 second. Let me pull that up. Let's see. Renee with a super chat. Talk about the Bukele Boric trash talk. I actually don't know what you're talking about. Bukele Boric trash talk? Ooh, what? Oh, look at this. Interesting. I'm going to have to talk about this another day. But, Bukele, the right-wing authoritarian president of El Salvador, the Bitcoin lover, apparently has been going at it trash talking with Gabriel Boric, the president, the left wing president of Chile. Interesting. I wonder what Boric's position on crypto is. All right, so this week on Doomed, we have a great episode. I'm really looking forward to this one, so definitely check it out on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, youtube.com/MattBinder. I don't want to give it away yet, but I'm really looking forward to. I'm having two guests on, who did some incredible on-the-ground reporting. You won't want to miss this one. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Doomed. And then, of course, got another great episode of Leftist Mafia, where I join Humanist Report, Rational National, The Serfs, and a slew of other great lefty commentators to talk about the weekend news. That's Thursday at 8:30 p.m. And then what else? Of course, Scam Economy, scameconomy.com. Who should I raid over on Twitch? Oh, and don't forget, really, if you can, especially because it's been so slow, patreon.com/MattBinder. It's if you can become look at this. Someone just became a subscriber. Toka, thank you so much for becoming a patron. But if you could become a patron, please, now would be a great time to do so. Again, I understand if you cannot at this time, but if you can, help keep the show on an upward trajectory. It's been a slow couple of weeks. Really, past 2 months have been slow. I think the economy is hitting people because out of the people who cancel, 90% say it's because of financial issues when they fill out that exit survey from Patreon. Who am I rating? Who am I rating over on Twitch? Let's see. Keffels is on. Makes sense to raid Keffels because I was just on Keffels live stream on Friday. So let's raid Keffels. She's not always on when I'm streaming, so it's convenient that I am able to raid Keffels right now. And Z with a super chat. Thank you so much. I rated US a-hole last episode. I promise I will do it again. I've friended them, followed them over on Keffels doesn't read Twitch chat though, says Hopkin and Green Frog. It's a good point. Maybe Keffels won't see it. So you know what? Sure. I'll do USA Hole. I did USA Hole last time, but I'm happy to do it again. Let's raid USA Hole. I'll hit up Keffels another time. Keffels got a lot more people watching too, so Keffels will be fine. Starting that raid now. Yeah, you know the drill. YouTube.com/MattBinder, Twitch.tv/MattBinder. Follow me on Twitter @MattBinder, ScamEconomy.com, and of course, Patreon.com/MattBinder to support the show. Folks, I will see you all next time on the Scam Economy.